Welcome to the channel. Now, this is a follow-up to the emotions video. I wanted to talk about my interpretation when investing and looking at risk versus volatility. Interesting one that is to me. I see risk when I'm investing is after I try, and I'm pretty new to all this, I'm learning every day, but after I try to look at what I want to invest in, I then apply my own risk. And that risk means, to me, one, at what percentage would I look at? Okay, if I'm investing into this, what do I want out of it? Two, from a risk point of view, as a percentage, do I think, and that's an appropriate word, think, that the risk is going to be high of success, high of breaking even, or is it going to be a high risk that it's going to go to zero? So notice I didn't say low there. I look at it as the percentage. The higher the percentage in those different categories, then makes me understand, well, if there's a high risk of it going to zero, then there's a high risk of it going to zero, in my opinion. If the high risk is it's breaking even, then it is what it is. So I don't put it down as low risk or high risk. I just look at it as, I put a high risk. Now that high risk can be a 20%, 10%, 100%, 50%. So that's the logic of what I use there. So that's how I look at risk, and it's basically, what's the chance of it working, and what's the chances of it failing over a period of time. It's as simple as that, really, in my eyes at the moment. I might be being very naive here, but I'm just sharing how I look at it and how I apply things. And it's purely my opinion. It's of you always hear I know nothing, but this is what I look at. This is how I look at it. When I look at volatility, I then look at, obviously we can only look at historical records for factual volatility. So then I look at historically, how volatile is that, and can I handle that volatility? And again, this comes down to where do I see this certain asset being in a time period? We call it 10 years for argument's sake, or 20 years, whatever. But it's a long time. It's not short time. It's a long period of time. So I can look at, will I be able to handle that volatility? Well, the first thing I look at is possibly, is it going to be volatile? Well, yes, I would have thought when you're relying on other things, get back to my chessboard, when you're relying on other things, and other things means other people as well, and outcomes and the way things are going in our world, then there's going to be uncertainty, there's going to be certainty, there's going to be uncertainty, there's going to be certainty. There's going to be people trying to manipulate, control, and that will, and then you've got other people that will just sit there and have a bit of faith and believe, but that produces volatility in a market space, especially when, going back to my emotions video, especially when I can't control it. So, I look at volatility and risk in two different ways, 100%. And then I'll do my research the best way I can. And when I'm ready to invest, I'll come up with a sort of a bit of a score in my head. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Have a look at possible risk, possible volatility. Can I handle the volatility of money? There's a great thing here, from my point of view. I think when you're in the crypto market, you're actually invested in the crypto market, and my only one is Bitcoin. It's nothing else. I've dabbled dabbled my toes in others, but quickly got out of it because I wasn't comfortable with it at all. But when I look at Bitcoin, there's risk. When I look at that as a run, I'm using Bitcoin purely, and there's a good reason why. I look at it as, what's my risk? What's the chances, I think, as it being some a useful asset, whether you look at it as money or look at it as just a pure store of value, or however you look at it, and this applies to all things. I will look at it and think, yeah, this does make sense. It makes more sense than something else I was looking at. When I look at the evaluation process of what I'm looking at. So the risk, the risk for me personally, in my opinion, yeah, if I believe and have faith in what it is and what it could be, then there's a high risk that it could do potentially what it's meant to do, whatever that is. So the bolt on with that is, okay, let's look at the volatility of that asset. And if you go through history, I know it's an early asset in comparison to a lot of things, but it's got history. So I look at it as a history thing. And boy, gee whiz, is it as volatile as anything. But I understand that. I'm not naive to it. And, I offset the risk against the volatility, categorize them as two different things. Can I handle the volatility? Well, I've just gone through last year, so I can definitely handle that. And then volatility to the low side, that's for sure. Equally, I can handle the volatility, this year, the volatility in its cycle, the volatility in it going up and down and sideways and everything. Yeah, I can handle that as well. So that makes me quite comfortable. And I will do the same with that with silver. I've done exactly the same with silver. Looked at that, looked at the risk. Well, the risk, when I look at historical risk, it's much more data and gold is the same. Far more data to look at. But I looked at that with a risk, and from a risk point of view, I thought, okay, has it got value in the future? Well, yes, I can see it having value, not just as an investment purpose for me, but also an investment purpose for industrial use, etc., etc. You all know the story. So yeah, so the risk from, is there a use case scenario in the future? Yes, that's high, that's good. Can I handle the volatility? Well, I go back in history and you can see how volatile it's been. With the ups and downs, and 1 minute it's at pounds wise it's at 21, 22, 23 pound an ounce, next minute it's at 17. Well, not the next minute, not quite as radical as that, but you know what I mean, over a short period of time. But the long period of time is, yes, volatile, definitely, but good use case scenario, good investment, same with gold. So I hope that helps. That's how I look at volatility and risk. Now, it's not a professional opinion because I'm a dummy, but that helps me. It helps me understand that hopefully I've done the right thing. I've done my due diligence and I continue to do it all the time. But it pays me because it then settles my emotions down. And you've got to have a load of faith. You've got to have faith in yourself, and this is why I say lots of times on my videos, invest in yourself, take that control, take that responsibility, learn, there's loads of time. It's how you deploy your time. What do you deploy your time into? Do you ever find some minutes, a half an hour a day, just to look at what you're doing? Are you doing the right thing? Education. It's really important, and hopefully we get to do what we do. We limit our risks, and we enjoy the volatility as long as long term it's doing what you want it to do. So that's my outlook on volatility and risk. It's nothing to be scared of. I think it's great logical common sense to apply to whatever you're doing in life, for sure. You know, you can apply it to a relationship. You can meet someone and you can, oh my God, the more you get to know them, you think, oh God. I know it sounds awful, but you can apply the logic to it in a nice way. You can apply that risk and, oh, is the relationship volatile? Is it worth it? Yeah, I love her, or I love him, you know, or I love whatever. So yeah, I can, and the risk long term is I want to be with that person. So you can apply that logic to most things in life. It just seems a bit harsh when you're using certain words, but don't forget, guys, they're just words. They are just words. So yes, that's volatility and risk. I hope that made a little bit of sense. And yeah, take good care. Have a good day. I better move all this stuff off my window. See you later. Bye.